How should influencers and online creators respond to the atrocities in Palestine and Israel? Well, Brittany Broski has found herself at the center of this question lately, and it sparked an interesting debate about the responsibilities of those with big platforms to speak on global events. So let's get into it. So Brittany Broski, she's a super popular online star. You may know her as the creator of this iconic meme, but these days she has evolved beyond just taking sips of things and making faces, and she makes hugely popular comedy videos, but has also had a somewhat recent history of supporting social justice issues, of speaking out about current affairs, which means people took notice when she stayed notably silent on the constantly unfolding violence in Israel and Palestine. Because there's one conversation to be had, which is, about public figures in general and how much they should weigh in. But then there's people like Britney who have specifically earmarked themselves as people who want to speak out on issues, and so when they don't, it's ever so much more noticeable. In fact, 2 months ago on her news show, her slightly Scroll Deep-esque news show.
If you have a platform and you have people's ear, you have their attention, how dare you not? How dare you not sing about things that matter? How dare you not show things that are hard to watch for some people and hard to embrace for more people? How dare you not do that? It is a responsibility that you have.
But things then got messy because she uploaded a message to her private Instagram story, clapping back at people saying that she should be commenting on Palestine, saying,
"What dystopian universe do I have to address the situation in the Middle East at the top of a podcast episode? In what universe am I a voice to speak on this? I am the opposite of the person that should be speaking on this. But because I have a check mark and I have over 1 million, immediately I'm qualified."
And this private story was then leaked. By whom? We don't know, but I'm sure Britney is pulling a real Wagatha Christie right now trying to find out. That's like a whole other thing, who leaked it. But the leak naturally really angered and disappointed a lot of her fans, who called her out for, alleged hypocrisy, saying that, these two recent statements really seem to conflict. On the one hand, you're really going out of your way to say that people should speak out about things that are happening. On the other hand, you're saying, how dare people expect me to speak about things that are happening? So a lot of people were commenting this, making videos of this, and then Britney actually stitched one of these videos on TikTok. In a nutshell, she said, quote,
"I completely understand why so many people are upset with me. I completely understand the weight of having a platform and the power of that platform and the power of silence when you have a platform. My silence hurt and confused a lot of people who love and support me, and for that, I can't tell you how sorry I am. Not in the business of making excuses. I'm really not. I'm also not in the business of virtue signaling. I waited too long to talk about Palestine, but the important thing is to talk about it now. Of course I support the liberation of Palestinian people. Of course I do. These people have no access to food, water, medicine. It is a living hell. We are actively living through a historic humanitarian crisis. But in my mind, I was like, people don't need me to tell them that.
She then references the story being leaked, saying,
I was voicing my confusion with the situation that I find myself in. Like having a platform and all this. No one teaches you how to use it. And the best that you can do is speak from the heart. And that's what I try to do.
She calls her video embarrassing and humiliating and says she shouldn't have made it. She says she didn't want to spread misinformation, she didn't want to speak over or for people, and she didn't want to center herself in the conversation. She then ends by telling her viewers to contact their elected officials and to speak out about Palestine. I'm in the UK, where all our elected officials literally just voted against a ceasefire. So don't discount elected officials immediately letting you down, but it's still a good sentiment, good thing to do. So how have people been responding to this? Well, it's been a mixed bag. Just looking at the comments on that response video, one person said, "What a 180 from your close friends post. Having to be dragged into speaking out about genocide? Shame." Another person said, "But you were always the first to speak out about feminism, LGBTQ+ rights, BLM, etc. But now suddenly you're underqualified? Clown." Clown. I like the idea of using clown as a full stop. But people also said, if people are relying on Brittany Broski for Palestine opinions, then we have bigger fish to fry. Someone else said, the expectations for content creators is absolutely ridiculous and toxic. You are wonderful and thank you for being you. And another person said, I'm proud to see your accountability. Thank you, Brittany. I think an interesting counterpoint to this is Halsey, who is also known for speaking out on social issues and who was also criticized for not saying anything about Israel and Palestine. And they took a different tact with their statement, which people broadly liked. Quite a long statement, but in a nutshell, the statement says, people have asked me why I'm not speaking out on this. Quote, especially after my supremely vocal support of the Palestinian people for the past few years, a few people have suggested that it's cowardice, and to be completely honest, it is. I am truthfully exceptionally anxious about navigating my responsibility as a career activist as it pertains to my daily life off of social media. Halsey goes on to talk about threats of violence that they have received, threats of being swatted, said that they had to have snipers at their shows because of opinions she's voiced before, and basically says, you know, I was prioritizing my own safety and the safety of my family over speaking out about this other violence, but then says that was wrong, I should have been speaking out about this violence, and I'm going to donate very generously to some Palestinian causes and basically maintain solidarity with Palestine. And people broadly really like this statement, I think mainly because it's honest, right? It's pretty from the heart. It's somewhat refreshing to hear a public figure say, I'm struggling with how to be a public figure in a practical way. I think it was a little bit more articulate than what Britney was trying to get at. Perhaps similar, but more articulate. Because ultimately, look, Britney is going to be fine. This isn't going to end her career or anything, but it might have changed the way some people approach her, might change the way she approaches things from now on. What can we take from this? What do you think? I'm actually very interested to hear specifically about Britney and about, you know, the issue of public figures who are not necessarily political figures, but who have influence and have an audience. What do you think they should be doing in situations like this? How much should they be speaking out? Should they be speaking out at all? Let's have a discussion in the comments. And also, above all, I mean, the situation in Palestine is absolutely dire. So many people, so many children have been killed. So I'd strongly urge you to donate to one of the charities operating or trying to operate in the area right now, like the UNICEF Gaza Emergency Appeal. Anything you can give would help, or at least, you know, share and raise awareness.